Is search engine optimization really worth it for a health supplement brand? You got to write all those articles, you got to wait all that time for Google to index you. In this episode, Jane Phelps from No Agency and I sit down and we battle it out, find out if it's worth it for you or not. Welcome to Health Business Mastery, the Creative Thirst podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Hewitt. So today's guest with me is Jane Phelps from No Agency. She specializes in SEO and paid traffic for supplement companies. Jane, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bobby. I'm happy to be here. A little bit about No Agency. We started a little over 14 years ago in the health and wellness space. We had one little itty bitty client and started from there. As we've evolved, as you know, marketing for supplement companies is completely different than any other type of SEO or paid search or marketing at all. So we've become very much experts in the field and are becoming very well known.
Excellent. Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with you on this episode about, is SEO possible for supplement companies? Is it worth it? How to do it? So I know we're opposite sort of viewpoints of this, right? So
Completely.
yeah, so that should be a good show for you. So my belief is that it's not worth doing SEO for supplement companies because it takes too long to rank. It's too competitive. It's in the your money or your life, the MYL category. And you can get faster results with paid traffic. In fact, the supplement companies that are kind of just getting started, some of them go the SEO route, but that's really like at least a 2-year plus route of consistent blogging, maybe 4 times a week, every week for 2 years or more, before you even see any traction at all. And a lot of people that are starting out don't really have the stamina to do that. And the people that are sort of already got traction, typically got traction through paid media and are looking to add more gasoline to the paid area because it scales faster than SEO. And with all the changes on Google's side with SEO, like the EEAT, right? Expertise, experience, authoritativeness, trust, it's getting harder and harder to rank for SEO specifically in the health area. So that's my perspective. So your perspective is?
Okay, so we actually sort of agree on part of your statement.
Interesting.
If I am a brand new supplement company and I have a brand new website, nobody knows who I am, absolutely paid search is going to be the number one source to get you traffic right away. You and I fundamentally agree upon that. However, as soon as you turn off that nozzle, then you're done. So that means you're going to pay in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So if we have a brand new supplement company that comes, it's two-pronged. We say, or three maybe, we say, let's start out with paid search. And typically we'll say a $5,000 a month budget for 3 months. Paid search is AI with Google, and you need about 90 days to learn really so Google can understand what it is you're paying for. After that, you can start really moving the dials and be able to see how much more you can spend, see what keywords you can use. Super important, you need to know your long-term, what is the word?
Lifetime value.
Lifetime value. Thank you. Your lifetime value and your cost per acquisition. So how much are you willing to pay for that particular click? So that I agree with. But while you're doing that, you've got to start building up your website. Again, the paid search, that is your sprint. And I would say SEO is your marathon. I would argue against it takes 2 years and 4 blogs a week. Um, I would say 6 months and a blog a week would be good, as long as the other elements that Google's looking for on your website is fine. Because you're telling Google, here's who we are through paid search. Now, Google will say, you do paid search, it's not going to affect your SEO. It does. There's a couple ways it does. I feel like it helps Google index your website better, but also gives a nice halo effect to your website. So the more you spend, and we've seen this time and time again, the more you spend on paid search, the better your organic traffic gets.
Interesting. So there's definitely a correlation that Google's not talking about there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, is it because they've seen you and your brand, and so they go back and they look for you later organically? That's probably part of the halo effect as well. But there's definitely, you can see in Google Search Console, more pages are being indexed and things like that.
Really, even on the indexing side. So it's not just we're going to serve more traffic to your paid and we're going to bump you up in the rankings. We're
Mhm.
actually going to spider your site deeper.
Right, because if you're sending ads to it, then Google is tracking that and they're seeing your website and they want to see what's going on in it.
So do you think that's just a signal to Google that you're a legitimate business?
Not necessarily, because as you were talking about with the YMYL and EEAT, especially with supplement companies, you've got to have those elements in there as well.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So
Mhm.
YMYL is your money or your life.
Right.
And Google kind of frowns upon the supplement, or not supplement, but really websites. Google frowns upon websites in this category. Agree, disagree?
Um, Disagree as long as you follow Google's rules. So back in August of 2018, Google did the MEDIC algorithm update. And a year or two before that, Google started doing algorithm updates because at one point, if you just had a really good optimized website, you could rank on page 1 for, did the Holocaust happen? And the answer would be no. And so that's the whole misinformation. So Google started trying to turn the dials to make sure misinformation was not getting on the top of Google. So then they started in with the YMYL, which is your money, your life. So essentially anything that affects your health, wellness, e-commerce even is considered YMYL, even though it's not health, because you're putting in your money information into those websites. So any of those websites had to have a different lens and criteria based on Google. So August of 2018 was the first MEDIC update. And Dr. Mercola, who is considered fringy, he got plummeted on that website. He basically disappeared. I was at a conference and the Dr. Axe people were there. And they said that algorithm update cost them $3 million in sales that month. And that was Google just laying down the hammer saying, your content on your website has to have scientific consensus. It needs to be written by people that know what it is they're talking about. You need to have references. It needs to be full, in-depth types of content for you to be able to show. First, it was called EAT, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. In December of this last year, they threw in the second E, which is experience. So each website, especially supplement and health websites, have to have all of those elements. So if you have all of those, we have proven success that you can rank well as a supplement company on Google.
So how do you develop all those? And do you need all those as like foundation first before you start doing SEO?
You should. So if we end up with a client that is an existing supplement company, Google hired about 15,000 quality raters. There's actual people that are contracted that come in and Google says, do this A/B testing, which you are very familiar with. Do this testing and make sure that it fits this criteria that we're looking for. And there are real people that are going in and looking at these things. And they have, and you can print it out online. I have one right here in my desk drawer. This is the Google Quality Raters Guideline right here, all these pages.
It's quite long.
It's quite long. We've been able to put it into a smaller audit that we can do for our clients. So what is Google looking for? Things that I was saying before, having the author written by somebody that knows what they're talking about. There was a very large weight loss supplement company that has lots of advertising on television that we were working with. And on their website, their CEO was the author of their content. And it said on the website that she was a marketer. Well, once I talked to her, she said, no, I'm a nutritionist and blah, blah, all these different credentials. And I said, you've got to change the website to say that. They did, and immediately their content started ranking better.
Just by the byline, or like, was it an about page?
Every single blog should have by person's name. And then at the bottom of the blog, it should be a short bio of that person. You should also be able to go to Google and put their name in and see other types of content written or something on other websites about them as well.
Now, is there any issues with duplicate content if that same byline at the bottom of every blog post is the same? Because it's the same author.
No, that's a great question. If you have thin content, if your blog is less than 500 words, then absolutely. But health blogs should be at least 1,000 words, if not more. So because of that, the byline is not that much, and so it doesn't turn into duplicate content.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So that's one signal, right? That's basically it's a real person writing this, and they have authority, they have expertise because they have little letters after their names, right? They basically have credentials, right?
Correct.
But that's not the only signal of EEAT, is it?
No, another one is, and which I think you do a great job with the CRO that you do, is having people with their ratings down at the bottom of all the products, the 5-star rating and things like that. The quality raters will look at that to make sure that the products have trust from the other people that have used it.
And are they looking at anything specific, like where, like what plugin that comes from? Like, how do they validate that those reviews are legitimate reviews, or they use Trustpilot? Like, do they look at Trustpilot more heavily than other things like Trustpilot, or?
Trustpilot, or there's an API you can bring in from Amazon, the different ratings that you have from Amazon into your products, that works as well.
I see.
Or you put the product name in or the company name and you put the word fraud in. We've done that before, and it's almost becoming a detective. Sometimes we have found some fraud or people thinking that there's something wrong with the supplement or with the ingredient, and that will affect your Google rating, even as far as BBB. They'll put the company name in the Google raters and look and see if there's any sort of BBB issues against it.
So these are all manual checks, it sounds like Google is doing.
But their AI is also brilliant.
Okay.
Yes. You know how backlinks used to be the big thing? You had to get a backlink from one website to another. Those are still important, but just a mention without a backlink is going to help you rank better as well. The AI picks it up.
Yeah, because the AI is getting so advanced. Interesting. Interesting. So how else can you build expertise, authority,
Mhm.
trust?
You should have a very easy to find return policy on your website. So Google doesn't want you to go in and buy a nefarious product and try to return it and can't figure out how to return it. You should be able to contact the company very easily. You should have one tactic that works really super well is a glossary, because that shows your expertise. So if you've got a glossary, we did this for a large Nestle company. We wrote their entire glossary for their premium brand, and that helped boost them as well. Here's curcumin, and here's turmeric, and here's ashwagandha, and here's what it does, and here's the references that show what it is it does. Having a glossary on your website helps boost up your expertise.
As one long post or as like a glossary for, because it sounds like a supplement facts list, something different than that I think you're talking about though.
It should be a separate section of your website. And again, the more content, the better. So rather than just one or two lines, this particular one that we actually wrote was, here's the ingredient, here's how you find it naturally, here's different products that we have that have it, here's how this particular ingredient has been scientifically shown to help your body in whatever different way. Here's some images to make it look good. So it's pretty involved.
So a glossary page for each ingredient or one glossary page with all the ingredients for every product?
I would recommend a glossary page with hyperlinks to every single ingredient that has its own page. The more pages you have on your website that are good quality pages, the more you show Google that you are the be all know all of that particular industry.
So more content clustering, hub and spoke,
Yes,
linking out internal links on your own site.
100%.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's see. So we're getting in the weeds. I think maybe a little too deep. I love the conversation, but
We're going deep.
but let's back up a little bit and
Okay.
sort of get our bearings and get back to a high level of SEO for supplement companies, right? So I agree with you. It's different supplement companies because people buy supplements different. But you don't think it takes 4 blog posts a week, that cadence of content? You think it can be much less than that,
We've seen it much less than that.
as long as as long as it's not thin content, right? As long as we're talking
Correct.
1,200 plus words an article.
Yes.
So you're saying 6 months? You're saying less than that?
Around 6 months. We would like to say about 6 months.
Of consistent content, long content, maybe 1 article a month or more than that?
1 a week.
1 a week. Okay.
1 a week for about 6 months. That's one component of ranking better. So when we're working with a client, we first do a complete technical audit. We try to make sure that Google can effectively crawl the website. It's not slow. There's all the pages have enough content on them. There's not too much heavy coding in there, all of that. So we clean that up. We also optimize all of the pages. Here is one thing I think that supplement companies always fail on with their websites. The elements that Google looks at is the page title, which you can see up at the top of the search bar, or the little tab that's up there, and then the H1 on the page, plus the content. That's the things that Google looks at to rank. I see time and time again where the product pages are optimized for the name of the product rather than what people are searching for.
So it assumes that you're coming in at the bottom of the funnel. You already know the product you're looking for.
Correct.
And at that point, it's almost a race to the bottom because it's basically Google shopping search at that point.
For sure.
Yeah.
Am I looking for blood sugar supplements or am I looking for brand X?
Hmm.
That's their blood sugar supplement. And the first thing we do is optimize the pages for what people are searching for. And is it harder to rank for that? Well, of course, because now you're competing with everybody, but done right, it works. There is another large Nestle company that we worked with that didn't sell. They had an e-commerce website. I mean, there's a huge company, but they didn't sell much. It was more Amazon and in stores all over the US. We had a really small contract with them. We went in and just said, you know what, I don't care how small it is, we're going to make these guys see a difference. And because they were such an authoritative supplement company, in just a couple months, all of a sudden, the CEO of the company goes to our contact and says, what is going on and why are we getting so many sales on our website? And they said, well, no agency is helping us with our SEO. They end up building $1 million website that was specifically e-commerce. They hired a lady that was e-commerce specific that they stole from Pepsi and built a team around their website. And they're now making money hand over fist because of it.
As an outgrowth of the work you guys did for SEO.
Correct.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So there's your proof it works. The downside is they brought SEO in-house, which was a bummer, but they built their team in-house. So, there it is what it is.
With a company that size, that makes sense, right?
It does. It was still like, if not for.
Yeah, it's still a kick in the teeth, but
Yeah. We replaced them, but we can always say we worked with them.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So what about like a mid-tier brand that doesn't have the authority, trust, expertise built up?
We're still seeing that with those mid-tier as well, where because the site has been there for a while, it has already built page authority, site authority. Google knows who they are. I feel like sometimes Google is like, we're just waiting for you to do it right. If you do it right, I promise you we're going to reward you. So, if we go in and we start, taking down those barriers for crawling, optimizing the pages, making sure there's enough content, even those mid-size, those are more the 6 months. The one that I told you about, that was about 90 days and they started to see significant difference. We just started with another large supplement company, and within the first 90 days, we're already seeing a huge difference. The mid-level is more around 6 months.
Gotcha. So that's 6 months of not only building up those blogs on a consistent basis, but also building up those signals of
Yes.
EEAT.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You talked about backlinking earlier, right? So is backlinking kind of dead now? That the AI can basically pick up the text that doesn't.
I've been doing SEO for a lot of years, and it used to be backlinks. You hired somebody overseas, and they would create 10,000 backlinks with these little spinners, and boom, your website would be ranking beautifully. That is dead. And in fact, Google says if you create manually created backlinks, you could be penalized. You could be removed from indexing. Now, there are actually evil people out there that will pay for 10,000 links for $100 and send it to their competitor, hoping that that will happen. Fortunately, Google can tell when things nefarious are going on, and you can ignore those links and it'll be okay. You can go into Google Search Console, shows all these backlinks, and you can go in and disallow them if you want. Google says ignore them. I had one client where I went in and looked at their backlink profile, and I don't know where they bought the domain or what had happened before, but there was some backlinks there that anyone under 18 should never look at. And so we went in and we did disallow those just because they were so bad. But Google says just ignore them. Do not pay for backlinks. It's gonna bite you in the hiney. If they don't catch you now, they're gonna catch you sometime. Just write good content.
So what about the competitiveness of the space, right? It's a very competitive space. It's in the health, your money or your life. There's a lot of existing high authority sites out there, uh, right? Dr. Hacks, who always got penalized, right? There's still
Oh,
WebMD.
they got right. They're doing great.
Okay. But there's still like WebMD and other sites that are not even selling anything, but they're really high authority. Like mid-tier supplement companies are competing against them with SEO too, right?
No. Maybe at the very top of the funnel where you're looking for a definition or, my hand hurts, what is it? Sure, that's WebMD. But as you go further down into the funnel, you're using WebMD more as a reference in your blog than you're using them as a competitor. So if you look at the keywords at that high level that WebMD would show up, yes, you're competing there, but as you go further down in the funnel, then you are not.
Give me some examples of further down the funnel. Are you talking specifically ingredients? You're moving off of the problem at that point, right?
Okay, so top of the funnel will be whenever I eat, I get tired. Why is that? Symptom checker. That's NIH, WebMD, or if you're even looking at berberine, that could be NIH, anything like that. That's really top of the funnel, trying to figure out what it is. Okay, so now I've decided I need a blood sugar supplement because I've been researching WebMD, NIH say berberine is going to be what helps to regulate my blood sugar. So now I'm looking for berberine supplements or blood sugar supplements. That's further down in the funnel, and that's where the supplement companies really should be showing up.
Okay. So then again, blood sugar supplements, if that's the search phrase,
Mhm.
the first thing they're going to see is Google Shopping, right?
For sure.
Of
Yes, the ads.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. The ads of
Mhm,
supplement bottles, going
mhm,
across horizontally on top of the screen.
mhm,
Prices under each one, right? So it's basically
mhm,
a shop comparison engine, right? It's the
mhm,
lowest, it's a race to the bottom for the lowest price. But they may not be ready for that yet, right? They may just want more information still.
mhm.
So now let's go there with SEO. So it is an article is what you're suggesting, right? A lengthy 1,200 plus word article. Um, it's not a sales page, or is it?
No, no,
Okay.
it's not a sales page. It's an information page.
Okay. Is it bad to have a link to the sales page from that information page?
It is not bad to have a link from the information page to a sales page as long as you're not making structure function claims that the FDA would not like.
Right. So it's the same thing with like a print book, for example. Like you can talk all about the disease state you want as long as you're not linking it or connecting it to a product.
Correct. In fact, it is important that you link from the article to the product because you're showing Google that you are the expertise of that particular product or that ingredient, and you're pointing that towards your product.
I see. So if we have a page that um, doesn't have any structure function claims, it's a compliant page, and we're linking to the product, it's just an informative page. It's basically telling how the unique mechanism works in the body. We're talking about the science of the thing. then it's okay.
Yeah, so let's say we have an article that says carrots cure cancer and we have a carrot supplement. Google will not like that because that is a claim that is not scientifically consensus. So if you've got, like you said, the wild claims and all these things you're not supposed to say, you're supposed to have references at the bottom of every piece of content that is linking out to NIH or WebMD or something that is saying, here's what they say about it, and they're supporting. Now, Google says you should have supporting document as well as, while we think carrots cure cancer, the NIH says that it really doesn't, and here's some information that they say. You're supposed to, in your blog, usually say the pros and the cons of the statement that you're saying. And you can see those pages over in Google Search Console. They'll have the number of pages you have indexed and then pages that are not indexed. And it's really frustrating because Google will say in there, yeah, we know this page exists, but we don't like the quality of the content on it, so we're not going to index it.
So what do you do in that case? Do you just update the content, or you just say scrap it? We'll just write more articles.
It's better to update the content on an existing page because it already has started gaining page authority. It's there. It's got history on it. Any health supplement company should look at every single important piece of content and update it every 6 months anyway. And when Google crawls the website, they see the last updated date on the back end of the website. And so Google wants fresh content. So you should be updating it anyway. So if you're in Google Search Console and you see a page that hasn't been, it's found but not indexed, go in and update it. Try to understand what Google really is looking for with that content and make it better. If it's, we're celebrating Bobby's birthday this month, okay, that can go down, sorry, Bobby, and you redirect that page to the main blog page. So you take that good juice that was in that page and redirect it back to the main blog page.
Gotcha. 3-in-1 redirect.
Correct.
What if you have a thin content page, let's say 500 words?
Mm-hmm.
It's not indexed because Google says page not good enough. Sorry. Do you leave those 500 words and just add another 1,200?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Unless the first 500 were written so poorly that it all needs to be rewritten. But you need to keep the same kind of intent of that page the same.
So once you do that, do you recommend going through Search Console and pinging Google and say, hey, re-index this page, or
Yes.
just leave it?
Nope. Always go in and ping Google.
Gotcha. Okay. So what are some things that a starting out supplement company could do to sort of set themselves up for success for SEO down the road?
I have a checklist that anyone, it's a PDF that I can share the link with you. It talks about all the important elements that you should have on your supplement website. So go through that checklist, make sure that it's done. Make sure that you have Google Analytics and Google Search Console set up. It's free Google tools, set them up on your website. Go in and see how many pages are being indexed by Google and how many pages are not, and then take care of those. And then just keep putting in fresh content.
The train never stops, though, does it? Like after those 6 months?
It never, you have to always keep updating. Here's something fun, talking about articles. A fun thing that I like to do is you take a year. Disney did this several years ago, where they got rid of a whole bunch of pages. So what you do is you go into to Google Analytics and you take a full year data and you look at your pages. Any pages that have less than 100 visits in the last year, those are the target ones to look at. And each of those pages you say, is it still relevant? Is it important to our business? If yes, let's update it. If no, take it down 301 redirect to the main page. Disney did that and got rid of hundreds of thousands of pages, and they ended up ranking better because as Google crawls your website, if they're crawling pages that really aren't relevant anyway, you're not going to perform as well. So if you get rid of those old pages, now you've lessened the crawl budget on your website, and Google can get to more of your important pages.
Interesting, because if you think about it from a content perspective, I get what you're saying. You're saying that over time, you're kind of confusing Google by giving them all these pages that are not really relevant for your business. Maybe they're sales promotions, maybe they're thin content pages, maybe they're kind of one-off things that were like, hey, we got this thing going on, let's just put a blog post there.
Mhm.
But it's no longer relevant to that thing.
Yep.
So it's really trying to design how a computer looks at your business based on the content alone.
Yes, and what is most important? Do we want Google slogging over on these unimportant pages, or do we want them to focus on your important pages?
So give me some use case examples of like some companies you worked with. I know you mentioned a few already, but what about some that you haven't spoken about yet?
Um, we have it's not a supplement company, but let's just say the color pink and the month October is important to them. Um, their website was, their website, but their blog was a subdomain rather than a subfolder. So it was blog/website instead of website/blog. If you have a subdomain rather than a subfolder, Google thinks of that as a completely separate website. And so we recommended last year for them to move it from a subdomain to a subfolder. And oh my goodness, their rankings just flew because of doing that.
So I imagine that's a lot of technical work at that point, right? It's a lot of 301 redirects because all the URLs are changing.
Yes. Yes. And anytime you do something significant like that, or you get a new platform, let's say you move from WordPress to Shopify, so all your URLs are changing, which means 301 redirects for your entire website, you will lose 90 days of rankings. Just know that. So save up your money, put it into paid search to offset your loss of organic traffic. But it does make a difference.
So what are the first thing you do when you work with a supplement client?
We do the technical audit, and we also do what's called a keyword and competitive analysis. So that's going in and cyber stalking all of the competitors, trying to find what the right keyword is for every single page of the website. And then we map those keywords to the pages, we optimize them all, and then start our internal linking and content projects.
And how do you know what the right keyword is to map?
There's different criteria that we look at. Number one, we look at the search volume. You were talking about how long it takes to rank organically. So if there's a search volume, 10 people a month search for it, we're going to throw that over to paid search because that's instant money. Organic search, we look at about 700 to 800 plus searches a month. And so that's our criteria first. Does it have enough search volume to optimize the page? Then we do a neighborhood check. If you put it into Google, are all our competitors there? If yes, then okay, that makes sense. Then the last criteria is, as a company, is this how we would talk about our products? And then if yes, then that's our 3 criteria to know it's the right keyword.
What is your stance on keyword versus key phrase then, or search query? Some people are calling it.
To be more specific, we're not going to rank for ashwagandha and blood sugar supplements on the same page. Those are two very specific keywords. But we could rank for blood sugar supplements and blood sugar supplements to lower my A1C or whatever. As long as it's semantically related, you can rank for all those different keywords on one page. You just can't rank for two very specific different phrases on the same page.
Gotcha. So that's more of a natural writing style. Those different search pages just come out naturally when you're writing long form content.
Correct. And especially with long form content, one page could rank for 30, 40, 50, 60 keywords, but they're all related.
Gotcha. So it's again back to that kind of clustering
Yes.
strategy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to go back real quick when you're talking about why not paid versus organic. You and I are savvy in the digital marketing field. I was talking at MBJ last week to an older man, and I said, you know those top searches that you know are ads? Do you click on those? No, I wouldn't click on those. And it's funny, the more people you talk to, well, they paid to be there, so I'm not going to click on it. I think the shopping ads, like you talk about with the images, I would say that's a bit different because it's more, there's good information there. But just those regular lists, many people avoid those. So it's good to be on top organically. Also, studies show time and time again that organic traffic ends up being more qualified and converts better. If you look in Google Analytics on any website, their number one source of traffic should be organic traffic, period, bar none. And it should have the best converting rate to it. And the last fun component is the better you rank organically, the better you do on Amazon. Because if I go into Google and I'm looking for a blood sugar supplement and your shopping ad or organically, I see company X, most people, the first thing they do is going to jump over to Amazon because we want instant gratification and get it delivered in 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So anything we didn't cover as far as SEO that you think we should touch on?
I think we've got people's heads spinning. I want to know, did I convince you?
Let's see. So I was surprised that we agreed on the starting out company, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's reassuring. The mid-tier company, it kind of makes sense that I think about it based on what you said, because they've already built up that authoritativeness, that expertise, that trust with Google just over time and over content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they weren't blogging, like some of the examples you mentioned, they had product pages, and all those are signals to Google,
Yes.
right? So all of that is still EEAT.
Mm-hmm.
And then since they already had that base, it makes sense that SEO would work for someone that already has that base, that history. Yeah, so I think you did change my stance on this.
Yes.
That SEO could work for supplement companies, but it depends on the stage they are, and it also depends on, I guess, their runway, right? How long they have, and how much, and just really where they want to put their effort, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm. And if you've already gone through and you formulated your product and you've got it in the warehouse and you've got to sell it, absolutely paid search, get it going, start making some revenue, get some money back, but then you've got to start SEO.
Well, thank you so much, Jane. This has been a pleasure.
Oh, Bobby, I'm so glad that I was able to turn you a little bit. This has been fun.
Absolutely. Creative Thirst is a direct response digital agency focusing on conversion rate optimization and A/B testing. We work with dietary supplement companies who are struggling to maximize the profitability of their funnels so they can scale. Through the last 7 years in the online health space, we've optimized many dietary supplement businesses. And in that time, we've uncovered the 3 critical funnels for success. We put together that information in a free digital download called The 3 Funnels Every Health Supplement Business Needs to Build a Multi-Million-Dollar Empire. You can get that free report by going to creativethirst.com. Scroll down to the appropriate section and click on the blue Get Your ebook button.